Here we are in the middle of a little experiment. So what we've got, we have got a vessel which is 15 litres. We've got a temperature gauge which is currently saying 13.4. That's what we're looking at so far. And we've got a pipe that comes out. Now that had a tap installed into it. And follow this little pipe along here. We've got that. Ta-da! So 80mm diameter, internal diameter. And it comes out of there, goes up and into there. So 15 litre vessel and auto siphon through that one, through that little arrangement there, and you can see the gas. It's roughly about the same sort of size. The gas is playing directly on it, but I can confirm that there's a lot of heat coming out of it as well. So it's losing quite a lot, which could be a problem. Then, of course, it's having to rise up into the top of here. What else have we got? Let's move the sensor. Now that is climbing 34 degrees, and that is sensing the pipe temperature there. And I can confirm that that is quite warm. Although I'm not putting a lot of heat into it, it is actually quite warm. It is, that I would say, is hand hot. Yeah, I wouldn't like to hold that for much longer. That one is still fairly cool. So, got 35.3 on that bit of pipe there. I'll just take that one off there, pop it on there. I want to see what the input temperature is now, watch the raises. So input temperature about 13.5. That's on the input pipe there. Doesn't seem to be a lot of heat going into that at the moment. I'm trying to keep the temperature down on that pipe so this joint doesn't suffer. Right, here we are again. So we've got the same container, same outlet. Eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the pipe has changed colour. It's also found the addition of a noisy little member of the squad, which is the pump, and comes out of there into the bottom of there, and now I've got considerably more heat on there, and back out of there into the top of the tank. If you can see that, yeah, nice. Sorry, that was a poor bit of videography, wasn't it? Got all Blair Witch on me again. Okay, so considerably more heat, and on there, nothing like the same amount of temperature on there. So it's not putting temperature into the coil; it's putting it into the water, as proved by the numbers. Again, from there, missed that one because I was rattling, but 13.25, start off at 13.1 degrees, and 13.55, 27.9, and that is actually warm to the touch. So again, there's that. It's around about the same sort of level as it was before. So just a little 12 volt pump, just gash wired onto a 12 volt battery, and my copper coil is working beautifully. Now I'm just trying to think about the logic of this. The problem I've got is this hole here is too small. So too small, It's fine for a little bit of pipe coming through, but am I going to get a whale pump in there? And that is the conundrum. Well, firstly, I'm not going to get a whale pump in there because it won't fit. So, just trying to think of alternatives. Because essentially, I want to be able to get hot water. Once I've got hot water into there, I need to get hot water out of here. So, that is an outlet at the bottom. That is a pump. I'm wondering about taking the output of the pump and using this pump as an external pump rather than an internal whale pump. Complications. I'll have a think about that one. Tell you what, we'll come to that one as a next problem. I've been thinking in terms of changing this for another 15 litre vessel that is bigger in the neck. That one. I want essentially one of these that's got a DIN 61 on there, so I can drop my whale pump straight into it, and that way it just interfaces directly without any extra effort or work. So once I've warmed the water, job's a good one. There's hot water to use at the tap, at the shower head and whatever. So we will see. I'll bring you back in a bit, and I'm aiming for about 40 degrees, I think. See how long it takes to go up to 40 degrees, and whether it's economical is the other thing. That's the thing about gas. You know, is it going to be economical to do it this way? Or do I simply need to boil a few kettles and stick the kettles in there, because that's the next experiment. Replace that with the tap that came off it. Take this amount of water and see how much of that has to be cold and how much of that has to be warm to get me 40 degrees. Just through boiling kettles. So, and it might be so much easier than this old pony. Figures are looking reasonably good so far. 13:45 I was rattling, so missed that one. Oh well. We've got to 39.5. I think I'm going to give it another 10 minutes and see how we get on. We are at 39.9 up to 40 degrees. Still with the pump involved. Right, just to finish this off, I've got 43. I've turned the gas off, as we can see. That is warm, but you can see it's certainly not hot. Nice and warm to the touch. Nice and toasty, but as you can hear, the pump is still circulating. Oh, and that stopped circulating because I just pulled the wires off the battery. But I'm going to leave that circulating just for a short while longer. One little problem. Condensation. See me woodpecker on the tree. Right, so that is 43 degrees. Pump still running. Gas is off. Battery still connected. And that is, as you can see, still circulating. Still warm as well. Now just drop this down to the bottom. So that 3 inches down, 43. I'll drop that down to pretty much the bottom. Still 43. So it tends to conclude, and the tank itself feels warm all the way over. Nice and warm at the top. So that to me is fairly conclusive. It's took a while, and it's caused a little bit of condensation, and that's in the caravan. But a little bit of discoloration on the coil. Generally, that seems to have worked. Now, what am I going to do with 15 litres of 43 degree water? There's a question, Tim. That is nice warm water. I've just taken that, plumped it right into the shower hose. It's piddling out in all directions, but besides that, you can see by the steam rising, actually coming straight through there, taking that piece of return pipe that was in there, still piping everything in place, and not the best of shower heads. I've got another one in order, but just an experiment. You see the level is going down, and that water is that will be a nice warm shower. Experiment done. Now, the experiment fell into two parts, essentially, because the first section wasn't working very well. So, with the auto siphon, you basically got a piece of pipe comes out of the bottom of the cylinder, it goes through to the bottom of the coil, then it comes out of the top of the coil into the top of the cylinder. So, the circulation is created by the heat flowing up the pipe. Heat rises, so does liquid when it's heated, and it circulates around and back up to the pipe, which sucks and does that automatically. That's the principle of auto siphoning, which works reasonably well generally, but in this circumstance I think it's probably something to do with the size of the pipes. What was happening was the temperature on the output of the copper pipe was starting to rise. The temperature on the input wasn't, so essentially the heat in the copper coil was rising but not exchanging it to the water. So we tried experiment number 2, same sort of thing, except change the bottom pipe, the lower pipe, and put in a piece of see-through plastic pipe and inserted a pump, a little 12-volt pump, and it popped into the inlet to the heater coil, and then run off a 12-volt battery. So that had the effect of whizzing the water around. It's got it circulating quite quickly. Now, the pipe temperature didn't rise. It didn't rise above hand warm, to be fair. But just looking at the numbers, we've got the first hour was 12:10 to 13:10. And the water temperature went from 7.2 degrees C to 8.4. Sorry, to 15.6. That was a rise of 8.4. There was 5 minutes in the middle of that where I changed the gas, but beyond that, not very effective, I would say. Second section, after I popped the pump in place, was 13:25 through to 14:35, so it's an hour and 10 minutes. And start temperature of the water was 13.1 and went up to 43.3, a rise of 30.2 degrees C. So you can see quite clearly if you put a pump in, it works considerably better. There was quite a lot of condensation on the windows, which means obviously running that within the van as opposed to the caravan. Does mean that you're going to get condensation build up. You're going to use gas from a cylinder. I'll use gas from a cylinder as you can tell it ran out, but that's beside the point. And in an enclosed space like that, that condensation might be a little bit much to live with, so might have to think of another way of doing it. Having said that, would it be any better if I was to boil it in a kettle and then pour it in? I don't know. Not sure. Oh well. I'll have to think about that one. Might do a couple of experiments later which involves taking X amount of water and seeing how much boiling water I have to put with it to raise the temperature the same. So in other words, in 15 litres, how many kettles would it take? So yeah, that might be a reasonable experiment, perhaps later. Beyond that, I think it's a win generally. I've still got the problem that I can't get the whale pump into the top of the tank, which means it's not an ideal tank, which is why I haven't damaged it. I've used it but not damaged it as such, so I can always use it for another purpose, if you know what I mean. So on that basis, I'm not going to try and force another inlet into it at the moment until I know that I could actually use it, and I don't really want a separate pump hanging around, if I'm honest. So we'll see how we get on. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. I certainly did. I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.